That wasn't just a coach defending her player. That was a declaration of war. For weeks, the WNBA has been a league in chaos, with players openly attacking the commissioner and a high-stakes labor negotiation threatening to tear everything apart. But what you just heard was the moment the conflict escalated into a full-blown rebellion. That was Stephanie White, the respected veteran coach of the Indiana Fever, breaking ranks and publicly labeling the league's biggest star, Caitlin Clark, a pawn. This wasn't a slip of the tongue on a local radio show. This was a calculated, strategic strike aimed directly at the heart of the WNBA's front office and its embattled commissioner, Cathy Engelbert. For months, you've heard the whispers of player frustration. You've seen the social media posts. But this changes everything. This is the moment a coach, with the credibility of a league pioneer, stepped forward to lead the charge. Today, we are going to connect the dots and to prove to you that Stephanie White's comment was the move that unified a fractured league into a powerful rebellion with one clear goal: to remove the commissioner and save the future of the WNBA. We will expose the alleged betrayal by Cathy Engelbert that forced White's hand, break down how this creates a united front of players and coaches, and reveal how this rebellion is now using the threat of a league-wide lockout as its ultimate weapon. This is the real story of the comment that could bring down a commissioner. We're a community of narrative analysts here, dedicated to filtering out the noise and getting to the truth. If you believe the story behind the story is what really matters, show your support and smash that like button. It tells us we're on the right track and fuels our next investigation into the power plays the league would rather keep hidden. All right, let's get into it. To understand the gravity of what Stephanie White just did, you first have to understand the battlefield. The WNBA in October 2025 isn't just a league heading into the offseason. It's a tinderbox waiting for a match. The tension between the players and Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has become toxic, a Cold War that finally turned hot just days before White's interview. The first shot was fired by Napheesa Collier, a forward for the Minnesota Lynx and a vice president of the Players Association. On September 30th, she delivered one of the most scathing public critiques of a commissioner in modern sports history. She didn't hold back at stating, "We have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But right now, we have the worst leadership in the world." That one quote sent shockwaves through the league. Weiss, worst leadership in the world. You don't come back from that. It wasn't just a critique of a policy. It was a direct, personal indictment of Cathy Engelbert's entire tenure. It was a vote of no confidence, broadcast for the entire world to see. And it wasn't an isolated incident. Collier's comments opened the floodgates. Soon after, Indiana Fever's own Sophie Cunningham went public in her exit interview with a critique that was just as brutal. She argued that the problem with league leadership was a fundamental lack of knowledge, saying, "I think there are a lot of people in positions of power in the WNBA who, they might be really great business people, but they don't know about basketball." This created a powerful narrative. The players, the ones who live and breathe the game, believe they are being led by executives who don't understand the product. The battle lines were drawn. On one side, you had the players, the basketball minds. On the other, the commissioner and the business executives. For days, it was a player-led revolt. But then, on October 3rd, just 3 days after the Fever season ended, Stephanie White picked up a microphone, and she didn't just join the players' side. She took command of the entire rebellion. When a player like Napheesa Collier or Sophie Cunningham speaks out, it's powerful. But when a veteran head coach and a former player from the league's inaugural years says it, that's not a complaint. It's an indictment from a respected elder. It transforms a player revolt into a legitimate, multi-generational movement. Stephanie White wasn't just speaking as the coach of the league's biggest star. She was speaking as someone who was there for the WNBA's very first collective bargaining agreement. She fought for basic necessities like year-round insurance, Her credibility is unimpeachable. So when she says the league is facing growing pains and that leadership needs to reflect where we are as a league, it carries the weight of history. She isn't just seeing the current crisis. She's seeing it through the lens of a 29-year struggle for respect. And in that context, her use of the word pawn becomes a masterstroke of political communication. It's a word loaded with meaning. A pawn is a piece used and sacrificed by more powerful players in a larger game. It implies a complete lack of agency and respect for the individual. By framing Caitlin Clark, the economic engine driving the league's unprecedented growth, as a disposable piece in someone else's game, White wasn't just defending her. She was exposing the commissioner's leadership as exploitative. Think about the message this sends to every other player in the league. If Caitlin Clark, the most famous and influential player on the planet, is seen as a mere pawn by the league office, what does that make everyone else? It weaponizes the very thing the league should be celebrating, the Caitlin Clark effect, and turns it into the ultimate symbol of the leadership's disconnect. This is why her comment was the spark that ignited the tinderbox. She provided a rallying cry that every player, from the last one on the bench to the superstars, could understand on a visceral level. The player revolt now had a figurehead from the coaching ranks, a respected veteran who validated their every frustration and gave them institutional legitimacy. And as we're about to see, this was no random outburst. It was a direct response to a rumor so damaging, so insulting, that it left a coach like Stephanie White with no choice but to go public and declare war. Okay, now we're officially connecting the dots that the mainstream media is afraid to touch. A coach like Stephanie White, who is typically measured and professional, doesn't just declare war on her own league's commissioner without a reason. The pawn comment wasn't just a reaction to general frustration, it was a direct counterattack to a rumored betrayal so profound it threatened the very foundation of trust between the league and its players. Many of you watching have already seen the rumors swirling, and you were onto something massive. The detonation point for this entire rebellion appears to be an alleged private conversation between Commissioner Engelbert and Napheesa Collier. According to explosive reports, Collier alleged that Engelbert told her that Caitlin Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. Let that sink in. The leader of the league allegedly told a top player that the sport's biggest star, the woman single-handedly rewriting viewership records and selling out arenas, should just be grateful for what she gets, implying the WNBA created her, not the other way around. This single alleged comment explains everything. It's the smoking gun. It's the mindset of a leader who sees her number one asset not as a partner, but as a pawn. Now, for the record, Engelbert has publicly denied making these comments, but the damage was already done. In a move that speaks volumes, Collier canceled her scheduled follow-up meeting with the commissioner, citing a lack of accountability. The players don't believe her. They see the denial not as a clarification, but as another failure of leadership. What do you believe? Was the commissioner's alleged comment a complete fabrication, or is her denial just damage control? Let me know your theory in the comments. This is the context for Stephanie White's declaration of war. She heard this story and understood the profound disrespect it represented. And she is not alone in this fight. This rebellion is quickly becoming a united front of the league's most powerful basketball minds. We've already seen coaches like Las Vegas's Becky Hammon be highly critical of the league office. And White herself was recently fined for supporting another coach's criticism of officiating. This is a pattern of coaches feeling ignored and disrespected by the front office. They are standing with the players, and most importantly, the pawn herself is standing with them. In her own exit interview, Caitlin Clark confirmed she has not received any communication from Commissioner Engelbert since this entire firestorm began. And while she didn't address the alleged comment directly, she gave her full support to Collier, stating, "I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. The board is now set. You have the players, led by Collier and Cunningham, openly calling for new leadership. You have a powerful block of respected veteran coaches, led by White and Hammond, providing an institutional backbone to the revolt. And you have the league's cornerstone player, Caitlin Clark, aligning herself with the rebellion. This united front now holds all the cards, and they are about to play their final hand, leveraging the one thing the league cannot survive: a total shutdown. So, what is the end game for this rebellion? It's not just about getting a better contract or forcing an apology. It's about leveraging the two most powerful weapons the players have to force a fundamental change in leadership: the looming CBA deadline and the very real threat of Caitlin Clark walking away. The current collective bargaining agreement expires on October 31st, 2025. This is the doomsday clock hanging over the entire league. For the first time in its 29-year history, the WNBA is facing the possibility of a league-wide lockout. Players like Sophie Cunningham have already gone on record stating they are prepared for it, saying, "We're not going to play until they give us what we deserve." This is where Stephanie White's pawn comment becomes the ultimate tactical weapon. She has publicly framed the league's most valuable asset as a victim of its own leadership. This sends a powerful message not just to the players, but to the team owners and the NBA itself. The question is no longer just, can we get a deal done? The question is now, is Cathy Engelbert's leadership worth risking a catastrophic, brand-damaging lockout over the mistreatment of our golden goose? And if a lockout isn't enough leverage, there's the nuclear option. While the competitor's title about Clark quitting was pure clickbait, the threat of her leaving is very real. Social media is buzzing with speculation about European teams circling, and there are even unconfirmed reports of a Saudi-backed league preparing a staggering $50 million offer. By declaring Clark a pawn, White has given her star player the perfect justification to explore those options if leadership doesn't change. She is building the public case for an exit, so when we filter out all the noise, the picture becomes brutally clear. Stephanie White's calculated defense of Caitlin Clark was not a simple media comment. It was the formal declaration of a rebellion. By unifying coaches and players and validating their deepest frustrations, she has checkmated the Commissioner. Cathy Engelbert is now facing an unwinnable war on two fronts: a united player base ready for a lockout, and the potential exodus of the one player who holds the league's entire economic future in her hands. White's move wasn't just about protecting a player, it was a power play to save the league from itself. So what's your take on this power play? Who do you think will win this war for the WNBA's future? Coach Stephanie White's rebellion or Commissioner Engelbert's front office? Let us know your verdict in the comments below. This rebellion is escalating by the day, and the CBA deadline is a ticking time bomb. We are tracking every move, every leak, and every back-channel negotiation. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Finally, if you know someone who only sees the surface-level drama, share this video. They need to understand the real war being fought for the soul of the WNBA.